What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Robbie J. Fox, and we are back with a brand new video. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about 10 mangas that are perfect for reading for this Halloween. Now, usually, I'm just going to go ahead and warn you guys beforehand. Usually, my videos are kind of PG-13 for the most part. This video will not be PG-13. Let me repeat again. This video will not be PG-13. It is highly, for the most part, adult only, adult content. It's very, very triggering. A lot of elements will be explained. A lot of elements will be said to let you guys know that this is not a joke. Today we're going to be talking about mangas that are like really gruesome and really in-depth with violence, murder, etc., all different types of crime. But they are absolutely perfect for reading for this Halloween. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Now, again, one more time before we go into the video, I'm just going to go ahead and say trigger warning. A lot of the elements that are going to be mentioned are heavily triggering. So if you're very sensitive to that type of thing, why are you watching this video? It's literally in the description and in the title, 10 gruesome mangas to read for this Halloween. Why are you here? Why are you here? If you're easily triggered, why are you here? I'm playing. Just like, subscribe, and put on your big boy pants, because we're going deep into this. First off on this manga is a manga called Friend Eater Classroom. Now, we've all liked to play games on our phone. It is a huge key element to passing by time. But what if, just what if, you get a text message saying the only way you can survive is by eating a certain body part of one of your classroom mates? It could be your crush, it could be your best friend, it could be just a random stranger. And what if it goes, something as easy as just say maybe a piece of skin or some nails, and then it gets even more in depth. That is what this manga is all about. Now again, a lot of this manga has elements of cannibalism, sexual content, murder, a lot of death. It is a very good manga to read if you want to be disturbed. Absolutely perfect. Coming up next is a very personal favorite of mine. It's called Cage of Eden. Cage of Eden is basically a plane that gets stranded on an island, and you have to survive the onslaught of prehistoric creatures. Now back in the day, I say back in the day, like it was really that long. It was like half a year ago, I used to play this game called Ark Survival Evolved. Basically a survival game where you had to survive the onslaught and tame even dinosaurs within the game. And that's pretty much it in the game. But if you know the game very well, you understand the terms offline rating, lagging, and crashing, which was, for an amazing game, the majority of what happened. Cage of Eden and Ark Survival Evolved had two things in common. One being survival, and two being the prehistoric dinosaurs that can kill you at a moment's notice. Now, Cage of Eden is one of the more light-hearted mangas on this list, as it is not as gruesome as everything else, but it's still a top-tier manga to read for this Halloween. Coming up next is a manga that is full of triggering events. I mean, probably the most brutal and the most difficult manga to read on this list, and that is Ingo Shima. Now, Ingo Shima has a lot of adult content. I'm talking a lot. You might as well go home and watch High School DxD if you want that kind of content. And I mean, yes, it has that kind of content. You know what I'm talking about. Let's not play stupid here, ladies and gentlemen. However, unlike a lot of the light-hearted harem or light-hearted horror animes that's out there, this one is nothing like that. You seen Goblin Slayer? You remember Goblin Slayer? So much worse. We're talking almost redo of Healer worse. Actually, much worse than that. Ingoshima is about a group of survivors. Everything has a survival-based theme. A group of survivors land on the island, and they have to survive the onslaught of not dinosaurs, not each other even. The onslaught of natives and a cult-like ritual that makes them lose their minds. Now, this manga has everything from adult content, you know what I mean, to murder, to all slavery. I mean, everything that you can think of that's really triggering, it is within this manga. So, again, before you jump into this, please take the time to prepare yourself mentally. It will fuck you up. Coming up next is a manga called Dead Tube. Now, back when I read Dead Tube, it was not completed. I have not finished it, so I have no idea if it's finished or not. But I will say that just like Ingoshima, Dead Tube has the same amount of adult content. Now, I'm saying that very lightheartedly. Now, Dead Tube is kind of like a horror comedy, as I found a lot of the shit within the manga really, really funny. However, it goes really in depth into fetishes. Yeah, boys and girls, we're going there. It seems that we're really, really going there. Two of the main characters within Dead Tube are extremely disturbed as they take pleasure in recording and participating the murder of others. As a matter of fact, even though the game is about who can keep up the max amount of views, DeadTube, which is pretty similar to YouTube, except you have to commit crimes in order to stay relevant. If your views drop to the lowest view content within that genre, unfortunately, you have to take and pay up the crimes that were committed, not just for you, but pretty much for everyone who participates. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, this manga is triggering. So, just a heads up, I recommend 100%. And as far as I know, it is not finished yet. So be wary that when you get to the last chapter, it might be a cliffhanger. Don't blame me. I'm not releasing it. So don't get mad at me. I'm just recommending it. Coming up next is another favorite of mine. It is called Magical Girl Apocalypse. Now, look, I know some of y'all want to check out on the term Magical Girl because you got... I mean, yeah, but have you ever seen the term magical girl and you see shit like this? Or how about this? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Magical Girl Apocalypse is pretty much the apocalypse, except instead of zombies, you get magical girls. Now, in a zombie-themed apocalypse where magic takes place, it is incredibly gruesome. This manga by far is absolutely fantastic. Now, the ending does get a little f***ed up, but it is still content that I would 100% recommend. And I will say, don't read this around a group of people. That's all I'm gonna say. Coming up next is a manga called Jinmin. Now, Jinmin is another kind of survival-based zombie apocalypse type thing, except instead of zombies, instead of magical girls, you get animals. Literally Resident Evil type shit, but animals with human faces. Now, I will say this as a warning. As far as I can tell, this is another manga that's not finished from at least when I read it. But I will say that this manga will mentally scar you, especially as you get further and further down the road. But 100% worth watching. I recommend absolutely. Coming up next is another manga that actually has zombies. I know I mentioned a lot of zombie apocalypse themed mangas, but this one actually has zombies, and that manga is Infection. Again, I'm sorry, the manga is not finished, so don't get mad at me. And they do release very slowly. It's like a chapter a month, so it's been out for a very long time. Now, the only issue I will say with this manga is that later on in the series, it goes from being zombie infected to a lot of adult content and fan service. I mean, unnecessary amounts of fan service, as they focus more on the actual relationships of the characters. And it does get a little kind of annoying. But other than that, the manga is absolutely 100% a banger to read. I would absolutely recommend it. Up next is everyone's personal favorite. We've all hype. We've all heard it. We've seen the announcements. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The anime is coming, and we are all excited. If you don't know what I'm talking about, where have you been? Where? I'm talking about Chainsaw Man. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not read Chainsaw Man yet, bruh, what you doing? What you doing? Chainsaw Man is a banger of a manga. As a matter of fact, unlike all the other mangas in this list, I'm not even going to go into a description about it. You literally will have to look up and read it. And this might be the only manga on the list that doesn't have a huge amount of sexual content. As a matter of fact, I don't think it really has any, which is kind of lets you know that not all mangas need that in order to be an absolute banger of a manga. And Chainsaw Man is really up there in the list. And last but not least, we have Berserk. Now, Berserk is one of those mangas. It's kind of a hit and miss. You really, really enjoy it, or you kind of want to put it down. Y'all remember when The Exorcist first came out in the 1970s? If you're like me, you weren't born then. You were not born. But if you're also like me, when you were a kid, you snuck up in your cousin's room and tried to watch it with them. Y'all remember The Exorcist first watching it? It was horrifying. Had nightmares for a month. Same thing with Berserk. The ending of a Berserk, and specifically, is one of the most up endings I have ever come across in anime and manga. Now, on this list, I did try to avoid using mangas that already have an anime, but Berserk is one of the ones that if you have not read it, not seen it, 100% recommend for this Halloween. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the list, if you have suggestions, please comment down below. If you want to join the Fox team, please join the Discord link down below. Once again, I'm Robbie J. Fox. I hope you guys enjoy this list. There are many, many more videos to come. So stay tuned, guys, and I'm out.
What am I looking at? What the f is this sh**? This here is just unacceptable. Yep, that's not normal, man. Where are your parents? Who are your parents? Whatever this stuff is. Yeah, whatever this shit is right here, you need to stop. Oh, blimey. Fucking hell.